Welcome to Blamestorming. Blamestorming. In a post-truth world, there's plenty of blame to go around. 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 Join Dave Cyrus and Marissa Smith as they blamestorm about today's hot topics.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Blamestorming. I am one of your hosts, Dave Cyrus. The other host is across from me. Her name is Marissa Smith. Say hello!
Hey, guys!
And one of our guests today, the only guest who's here so far, there'll be more, is Scott Chaplin. Very funny man.
How we doing?
You may have seen him doing comedy on television.
Yeah.
How you doing, Scott?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
How
We're
are
just
you?
gonna jump in 100 miles an hour and just start talking, and every word we say. You hear that? That's someone's phone, not on.
I'm on.
That is
Mine's on
someone's
airplane
phone,
mode.
not on airplane.
My phone is on airplane.
Well,
now.
everything's all right. Well, everyone did what they're supposed to do, and it still sounds like shit. Anyway,
So wait, before we jump in though, like you've been missing for a couple of weeks. Where have you been?
I'm a very busy man. I've been like in LA, in Atlanta. I just had a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if you know this, everyone. I am making a movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is publicly announced. I am allowed to talk
Not
about
with
the-
anybody important though, right?
No.
Yeah.
It's being directed by Judd Apatow.
It's just like a student film.
Yeah. Judd Apatow got a good track record. Let's see if this is the one. Let's see if this is the wall he hits.
It could be, right?
Oh, it easily could be.
Has he
yes.
hit in a wall?
I don't know. Has he?
Are you allowed to say?
I mean, I wouldn't if I did, but I can't honestly think of one. I don't know.
I can't.
I don't know if there's a. No, he doesn't. I don't know. I don't think Judd has any bombs at all. I mean,
No. I mean,
No.
there's movies.
he
that
has
went,
movies that were
"Oh,
like
yeah."
huge, you know,
Right.
that were like giant blockbusters. But I mean, as far as I know, we would be his first unsuccessful movie. Should that happen?
Oh, it's gonna be very successful. Though.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to. I honestly, I can't wait to talk about like who's in it. I can't say anything about that
Really?
yet, but yeah, we got the cast is firming up, and it's
Shut
it's gonna be really
up.
cool when we get to
Is that good as
talk about that.
Tarantino's cast for
What?
what's that movie that's
he-
coming out?
Does Tarantino have another movie coming
Yeah,
out?
Oh,
something
yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah. God.
All I know is that it's not the Star Trek one he wanted to do, so I'm pissed about that. He had a deal. He wrote a script that he wanted to do a Star Trek movie, but only if they let him have every living Star Trek captain.
Really?
Like he wanted it to be like with actually Shatner and Picard
Oh,
and
that's
Janeway and Bakula and like a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time travel thing.
Right.
I would have killed to see that.
Of course.
Because like it's not easy to make a good Star Trek movie. Like most of them are bad,
Yeah, I don't like.
but they can be really good. But like if you took that format right, you can make it really good. Like there's
Yeah.
very few actually good Star Trek movies, I'll admit.
There's great movies I've seen where I've gone, this is a great Star Trek episode.
Yeah.
But there's no
Yeah.
Star Trek movie I've seen that I've thought this is a great Star Trek.
I thought the
movie.
Borg one was good. The one with the Borg and the invention of light speed.
Oh yeah.
That was the best one of those. But also the Star Trek TV show right now that you have to pay extra for CBS to get.
Yeah.
Like, it's like $10 a month to get just like 3 extra CBS shows, which I will never,
I
ever,
didn't know about that.
ever
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
pay for. But the show is great.
They put the pilot on regular CBS. I think the pilot in maybe like 3 episodes, and then they like pulled it from regular TV and then put it up on their
Wow,
paid.
they're-
Yeah, I never heard of
everyone
anything
is-
being free except for the pilot, but it's just the fact that it's like, I pay a lot of goddamn money to still have basic fucking cable.
Yeah.
I feel like I should get something for that.
Well, everybody's trying to get into like the streaming service and app business, and the only way they can think of getting people to do it is by scamming them, by doing
Right.
something like
Yeah.
the UFC now made a deal with some ESPN app where if you want to order a UFC pay-per-view,
Got to get ESPN Plus.
yes, and you have to pay like $4 a month to have ESPN Plus just to order a pay-per-view.
So guess
which
what
That
I'm
is
you
still the
also have to
regular
pay
price.
for it, right?
Guess what
Just-
I'm doing?
yeah.
I'm gonna wait till all the episodes of the Star Trek show have come out, and then I'm gonna get CBS whatever Plus for the 7-day trial and
Yeah.
watch them all and cancel it.
Yes.
Because that's what you deserve.
Yeah.
And this is from someone who works making Hollywood movies. So I don't
A
pirate.
Hollywood
so I don't
movie.
pirate because I actually don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to screw over my own industry.
Oh, you don't want
Right.
to be that guy.
But I will like for example, like you're friends with the Mean Boys
Yeah.
as well as I am. Tom Goss, who was a guest,
I've met him.
is one of the Mean Boys.
Yeah.
He was on the show.
Yeah.
Like they have a Patreon of like $5 a month,
Mhm.
and like I'm good friends with them, so they offered to so they have a bunch of episodes that are just for the Patreon. that I've been on a couple of them, but I didn't get to hear them.
Mm.
And Tom was like, "No, I'll figure out how to send you those." Which, by the way, if you know Tom, that's quite an undertaking for him.
Yeah, it's huge.
But I was like, no, I refuse. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to be a dick like that. So I gave $5 to their Patreon, downloaded every single one, and took my money back.
Wow.
But no, they still get the $5.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
gave my friends $5
Yeah,
for all their
that
episodes.
you didn't have to do.
I feel like a hero for that because
Yeah.
it's actually funny. I've given a lot of things to those guys,
Mhm.
just not like important things, but like in a funny way. Because right when I got SNL, right after that was when the first season of Roast Battle was.
Mm.
And I remember Keith and Connor were both in the preliminaries to
Yeah.
get into the
I remember
tournament that
that.
you were in.
Yeah.
Connor won. So Keith lost his prelim battle,
Mhm.
and I felt really bad because he was like everyone he was the most, especially the most popular one at the
Yeah,
time. He
yeah.
still is. So I sent him like a gift basket of food.
That is so fun.
Because he's Keith. He's
Yeah,
fat.
yeah.
So I just thought it'd be fun to give him a food. And then right after he gets it, I find out, well, even though he lost, he's still going to get in the tournament.
Yeah.
And even though he won, Connor got cut from the tournament.
That's what happened with me and Eli.
So that's why I had to then send Connor a basket of food.
Yeah.
Because, that would just be unfair.
Me and Eli battled for the preliminaries, the road to. He beat me, and then I advanced, and he didn't.
Yeah, because you're better looking than him.
Of course. And
Sometimes
it's not
that
so much
happens.
that I'm better looking, because that's unfair. I don't want people going, "Oh, you got something because you're better looking." He is just so fucking ugly.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're objectively
it's got
better
nothing
looking.
to do with me and everything to do with him.
No, I did mean entirely by default.
Yes.
You are by default
That's
a
his
handsomer man,
fault. Yes, it's all his fault.
like most people are.
Yes, exactly.
The funny thing about Eli that people know is that he's so young to not dye his hair.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I forget how old he is exactly. I mean, he's
like-
34.
He's in his early 30s,
And
mid
he's-
30s, and he's completely gray.
Yeah, but like gray is in right now.
Not
Like
that
his
kinda
gray,
gray.
Not his gray.
No, silver gray, white gray is in, cool gray that's clearly dyed. Not him. He literally looks like he crawled out from under an asbestos bomb.
Yeah, he's got like whiskers that are gray.
Yeah, it's not cute.
No, he needs to.
Yet he's a very charismatic man.
Oh, and
He's
he's
a
so
lovely,
fun.
lovely
Have
man.
you? Yeah, he's great.
I haven't done Roast Ghost yet. He asked me to do it.
Oh man.
I'm gonna do that soon.
Yeah, he's a good time.
Only
What's
if
Roast Ghost?
it's his new podcast it's an all roasting podcast.
Oh, okay.
Like where you get several guests and then you have a subject that people are gonna make fun of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, he's good people.
But yeah, that's my little Mean Boys segue. I just like the fact that lately in the Mean Boys, every time the word Jew comes up, they mention my name.
Really?
I feel great about that.
That's nice. I gotta listen to them. They're great, man. They're really funny guys.
Yeah, they're a great podcast, everyone. If anyone listening to this doesn't already listen to the Mean Boys, which is a good chance, you
Yeah.
should check them out. They're way more popular than this show.
Are they popular?
Oh my god,
They are,
dude! They're
right?
like supporting themselves off that show now.
That's fucking great.
They're making like a few grand, I think, like a month.
Wow.
And I mean,
For them.
Tom is able to live in the kitchen of their crack house 100% off Patreon.
Oh no.
Yeah. Have you seen Tom's?
No,
Tom
no.
Goss, former guest, so it's relevant we're talking about this.
Mhm.
Tom lives in the kitchen of a house in Filipino town that looks like
Wait, where's Filipino Town?
it's LA. It's in the
Oh, okay.
it's on like Glendale Boulevard between Hollywood and downtown.
Okay.
Tom's bed looks like an ape made a ground nest out of people things.
Ugh.
Like it's just like a mattress pressed up against a wall.
Yeah, just,
And he's like, and the funny thing is, it's the happiest he's ever been. He is living his best life in this kitchen.
This was his dream.
I mean, it's pretty great for him to
Yeah.
not have to work for a living.
Yeah.
Just do his radio show and do shows. I think he just went to the Yukon. He was headlining some festival in
Wow.
the Yukon, which is hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah. It's funny. He lives in LA the way people only live in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Where people live in hallways
It's
and
strictly
bathrooms.
a Manhattan thing. Yeah.
He lives in a place where day laborers have their own house.
Everybody's apartment I've been to in LA is
Huge.
gorgeous and huge. Yeah.
Yeah, my place in LA was the biggest, cheapest. I lived a block from the Improv. The apartment I lived in was a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2 floors, 1 underground parking space.
Wow.
When I moved in there 15 years ago, it was $1,500
Whoa.
for all 3, the whole place.
Wow.
It was $1,900 when I left.
What?
Yeah, which is 3 years ago.
My girl lived I guess 2-3 years ago, she lived on Havenhurst, right? Like a couple blocks away from the store and Laugh Factory, and it was like 2,300 or it was something.
Yeah, that's a few
crazy.
blocks from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Havenhurst real well.
Oh.
Let's talk more about local West Hollywood references. Here's the thing with West Hollywood. Every year they would have what was originally the gay Halloween parade, and then just became the Halloween parade.
Really?
Well, they had a Hollywood Halloween parade that was big, but not near. But like the gay one originally in West Hollywood would get like 500,000 people. It was bigger than the Manhattan one.
Wow.
Have you seen the
Manhattan one is like a gay one too. If you think about it, it really is. It's what it's about. It's like a.
Yeah,
They're the ones who go all out.
Yeah,
It's in the village. Yeah.
What's amazing about going, because I would go, I had to stop going because it got too packed. You couldn't even walk around.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason is because about more than half the people were literally just straight dudes in cargo shorts, not even wearing fucking costumes, just wanting to look at girls.
Yeah.
And they literally ruined the whole thing.
Oh, that sucks.
The best thing about it to me was that walking around, I did learn something, because I have a lot of gay friends in LA, but like this is something I did not know about the gay community. In the Hollywood gay Halloween parade, you see a lot more Robins than Batmans. Because Robin is much more of a hero to the community.
Yeah, he's like a gay icon.
Right, because he's bottoming like the greatest top ever.
Yeah.
So he's just a hero.
Wow.
And also, my friends told me there's a shortage of tops.
Really?
As a straight man, isn't that like the hardest thing to understand?
I just got excited for some reason.
Right,
Yeah,
if they're saying like if you want to be a top, you will clean up.
I'm like, oh
in
great.
WeHo. And like it's funny, straight guys just cannot wrap their heads around the idea.
Well, it's just interesting
Because we assume it's the other way around, right?
Yeah.
Straight guys just assume, oh, everyone wants to be a top, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because we're such masculine men, you and I.
Yeah, clearly.
Yes.
Wow.
So speaking of masculine men,
A shortage of tops.
Yeah.
Shortage of tops. Wow.
yeah, shortage of tops, isn't it? Yeah, it's mind blowing.
I would just assume everybody would be both. I think that would be like considerate and fair if you're just both, and then you just jump around.
I think there's a lot of like switch hitters, but I feel like a lot of the guys on the down low are tops. But
We assume that, but that's the thing. People always assume that because you see a masculine gay guy and you assume he's a top. But you know what? We're straight people.
No,
we don't get it. We don't know
I'm
how that
not
works.
assuming that. I've got to, I mainly because of my gay friends that I feel like.
Were you about to call Rodney masculine?
I'm not gonna call him not masculine, but no, it's just like and he's not my only gay friend, but like from like the gay guys that I'm friends with, they have a lot of like down low, like quote unquote straight boys that think that if they top that they're not gay. So like a lot of the married guys, a lot of guys in relationships, engaged guys, they will like, fuck gay dudes all the time, but they feel like if they're the top and not the bottom, then that's what makes them still straight.
Well, it doesn't sound like they're natural tops then. Sounds like they're just,
They're
settling.
convenient tops.
Yeah.
Because my friends, they would say that it's like, well, one that, you have to be versatile these days, they say,
Yeah. I would assume.
Yeah, but also they were just like, oh no, that some gay guys believe there is no such thing as a top. They're all.
Oh, it doesn't exist. They're all bottoms.
That they're all bottoms. Just some of them are either lying to themselves or just forcing themselves, or that's what they have to do. That every top is just a bottom who hasn't met the right guy yet.
Yeah.
They haven't met the right top yet.
Yeah, no, that's what my friend said.
Yeah, and then there's also from like what I've heard as well that there's like a hierarchy, I guess, within like the bottoms. So like there are like guys that are bottoms that are more versatile, but then there's some tops that won't go with or there's some bottoms that won't go with a top that also bottoms.
Well, yeah, there's a few reasons behind that. One of them is safety. That is sort of a stereotype.
Yeah.
Because bottoming is much more dangerous, significantly. Like that's not
Yeah,
a stereotype.
like
That's a
transmitting
mathematical thing. It is
anything.
much more physically dangerous to have sex as the receiver than the giver in that sense. So you can't really fault them. Even though the more you learn, more gay friends you have, you find out that gay men can be terrible. Just in terms of just in terms of like how many friends I have who talk about like just how much like ridiculous racism and ageism is on Grindr.
Oh, yeah,
I believe
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I always think is so weird. It's because, like, sometimes I'll go to a gay bar and I feel like as straight people, the only thing that we've actually, like, depending upon where you are, but I'm just going to take Manhattan for an example. As straight people, we kind of nail diversity in bars. Like, I can go to, like, any bar and I'll see Black people, Asian people, Latino people. But if you go into a gay bar, there's, like, Black gay bars, there's white gay bars, and there's Spanish gay bars. And, like, you go in there and you're just like, what's going on here, guys? Like, you guys can't.
damn.
It's like middle school.
It's really weird. It's like I mean, granted, I understand that they're creating their own environment, but, like, I would just assume that their environment would just be, like, pro gay, like, pro LGBT, and less of, like, the racism. But there is a lot of, like, racism in gay bars, which I thought, and I haven't been to that many lesbian bars, so I can't really speak to that.
Let me ask you that: is a preference racism?
No. Can't be.
Well, I mean, the term racism is a very kind of changing word. I mean, obviously, there's people substitute it for prejudice or whatever.
I think it depends. Like, I think that it depends on what the subtext of the preference is. If you're just like, I prefer Asian people, I think that that's, like, fetishizing them, and that's kind of racist. But, like, I think that if you're going into, like, a preference, like, for me, like, I'm, on dating apps, people always say, like, what are your types? And I'm just like, I really don't have a type. I'm more about a vibe. So, like, you need to be funny. You need to be smart. Like, like, be, like, somewhat charismatic. Those are things that I think are beyond race and ethnicity. However,
well, there is one race that isn't any of those things. But go on. You know the one I mean.
Are they here? Can you talk about it?
No. I was just baiting to see if you were actually going to guess that there is one to ruin your life.
No, I mean, my dating track record looks like a Benetton ad.
Yeah.
Like,
No. Sometimes I just say who's just to see if anyone
Just to
said.
see if someone
just
goes,
see if
well,
someone
of course,
volunteers.
this thing.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've basically dated everything.
Yeah. So have I.
I think a physical preference is totally natural and understandable. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that.
things catch
Just
our eyes
happens.
from childhood, and some of those things are a preference. If someone has an Asian preference and they go, I like how the typical Asian face and body looks, that's what I like, I think that's fine. I think if you go, I like Asian women because they are often submissive and quiet,
Yeah,
then
that's
you go,
weird.
whoa, hold the fuck up. Then there's like an odd racial thing going on.
Yeah, and I don't think it's fetishizing
But I think
unless it's fetishizing when you're saying I like to have sex with a certain kind of person, but I want to be in a relationship with a different kind of person.
Yeah.
That's fetishizing.
I mean,
That's
honestly,
not-
the idea of a fetish is it's gross to the person observing it.
Well, yeah.
Feet aren't gross to people who like feet. They just like feet. It's gross to everybody else. So when you go, you have an Asian fetish, that's you saying, I don't understand how you could fuck an Asian without it being a weird thing you do.
Unless,
I
well,
don't-
fetish means taking a non-sexual thing and making it sexual. So
Yeah.
if you look at all Asians
As
as
being
sex objects,
yeah.
Which, who
That's a
does that?
very
There's
different
nobody who
thing
looks
than
at
say-
all Asians as sex
Right.
objects.
But
This-
there's like
yeah.
definitely like there's definitely like some guys that like I've come across that I feel like fetishize black women, and it's just like they're just like, oh, like I only date black women. As soon as a guy says to me, I only date
Yeah,
black
it's
women,
strange.
I'm just like, you're fetishizing.
he thinks
But-
that's what you want to hear.
Like, or it's just like the other thing that I think is weird is that they're like, oh, well, I've never dated a black woman before. I'm like, well, I'm not going to be your first. Like, it's just like, I feel like when those kind of questions come up, then I start questioning their, I don't know, their sincerity, I suppose.
You don't have a type of person you prefer looking at than other types of people?
I mean, I prefer like a more athletic guy. I prefer a taller guy. But
Yeah.
like,
Are you anti-short because you prefer
I've
a
also-
tall guy?
That is exactly what she's saying.
No,
like-
you're just a person who thinks.
But, like,
things
I've
that you
also-
think. Like, it's just
I've also dated guys that are my height. So it's
Yeah.
like these are just things that
it's a
like
preference.
you know, like if I'm just like walking down the street, am I going to look at the guy that's like 6'2" before I look at the guy that's 5'2"? Yes. But if I'm sitting down having a conversation and the guy that's 5'2" fits more of the personality types that I'm into, then I'll lean more towards that. But like, I don't necessarily like if we're going type, my type is Keanu Reeves.
Is it possible for someone to find themselves more attracted to people of a certain race than others without that being, let's say, weird? Without that being sort of something they should be ashamed of. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying like someone says I only date this, but if someone goes through Tinder and finds that like he likes 50% of the black women but only 20% of the white women, like, is there something unhealthy about that?
I think it depends on where it's coming from, because like
pure just physical attraction. If it's 100% just baseline what I find attractive. Like, what if the guy even said, well, when white women have features closer to less white features, he's also attracted to that? Could that mean that it is purely just a weird physical preference? Like you said, it could be whatever you interacted with as a child. You know, a lot of people are attracted to what their mothers looked like. Just, you know.
Oh, yeah.
My first crush was Christopher Reeves.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you like
post-accident, or
well, it sounds like you like sort of air. I mean, you're just.
It's just like I just want to sit in his wheelchair, do some
in
wheelies.
Wheelchairs. Yeah,
It's just like, oh my god, I just love those thin legs.
No, it sounds like you're attracted to like fairly Aryan men with black hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that silence.
I like that she just figured that out, but yeah.
But no, I mean, I don't necessarily think that that's true, but.
All right, just saying the two men you've named are Aryan men with black hair. That's all.
Well,
there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think of Keanu as being Aryan.
He looks. I mean, I would say Keanu Reeves and Christopher Reeve are both like particularly white guys. They're not like
Keanu Reeves is half Asian.
I mean, they're not like Rastafarians.
Well, he looks really white.
Yeah,
I don't.
Half Asian? 50%?
His father's Japanese.
His father's 100% Japanese.
I don't know.
He
looks like a white guy.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know. I don't think that Keanu Reeves looks that way. But also, like John Long, he was. I think his name. No, John Lone. He was in The Last Emperor. He plays the Emperor. He was like.
Oh, you mean the kid?
No, the adult.
The kid who like. Is The Last Emperor a child?
I think.
No, you're thinking of that Golden Child with Eddie Murphy.
The hell's The Last Emperor?
No. You're thinking of the one that had Christian Bale as a kid.
I'm 100% thinking about Eddie Murphy and a child with a special knife that floats.
Okay, yeah, no.
And the kid had to eat a bowl of blood.
No, that is not.
Because that
I'm
would
talking
make
about
his powers go away.
The Last Emperor. But
yeah,
like,
I never saw that piece of crap. But the Golden Child, underrated Eddie Murphy movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
I've seen it, but no, The Last Emperor. It was also like a childhood crush of mine who was Asian.
The Golden Child was like a movie that was going to be like a serious like Oscar bait movie, and then they found out Eddie Murphy was available, and they're like, change everything.
Oh, that's great.
God, what a coward he is.
What?
Eddie Murphy?
Why?
Why won't he do stand up again?
He doesn't feel
been
like
40 goddamn years.
Because he's chilling. He's doing his thing.
No, I heard he's doing it again, and then it didn't come out or something.
That's what I heard. I heard like he says he's gonna do it, and then he doesn't.
Yeah, freaking.
You know, I mean, when people bother you enough, you're gonna say you'll do it, just so people.
I get
shut
it.
up. Yeah.
No, he's 100% doing the thing where it's just like, if I fail, I lose all this like.
Well, there's that too. That mystique.
Respect.
Just the mystique of I was this great at this age. I disappeared, from that world. To come back and to not be the greatest comedian ever is gonna be a letdown to some people. That's
but
not
I feel
fucking
like
fair.
that's kind of like normal. Like one of my favorite poets is Arthur Rimbaud, and he was like a French poet in I think late 17 or early 1800s. But he stopped writing poetry at 19, and it was because he felt like he had nothing left to say, and so he wrote like books and books of poetry. And then 19, he's like, I'm done, and never wrote poetry again.
Whoa.
But, like, I mean, his poetry still stands to now. But
something nice about that.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like Eddie Murphy's doing kind of like the same thing. Like, like I started when I was so young, and, like, I've got nothing left to say.
Yeah,
I kind of respect that.
There's
Yeah.
something nice about walking away from, and it's not as like magical as we're making it out. Like he started making money doing movies. Why am I going to work my ass off doing stand-up when I'm making millions of dollars making movies? Then those movies got bad. Then they kept getting bad. Then they kept getting bad. Then they kept getting bad. It was like, it's not just, oh, you're the greatest stand-up in the world. Why did you disappear? No, he was around always, and shit was just bad.
What Eddie should do, honestly, is the same thing I always wished Paul Mooney would do. Have the balls to get out on stage and talk about the fact that you are a closeted gay man.
Yeah. Oh,
And
well, that's
have
what he
the
should
fucking
do.
balls
Yeah.
to own who you are, allegedly. Don't sue me.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm saying, in my, uneducated opinion, they're both men that everyone.
Knows.
Yes, I know it. Yeah, but yeah, that if you just came out and just talked about it, it would be so much braver. Like, I mean, Paul Mooney is someone that like people have talked about being gay. I don't know if he's gay. Wink. But.
I mean, I've never heard about that with
Oh,
Paul
I've heard.
Mooney.
I mean, that's.
Oh, the Mooney thing
the
is like...
Mooney one is one of the most.
Yeah, yeah.
Allegedly, we're just being satirical right now.
It's like people know his boyfriend and stuff, allegedly.
They say the same thing about Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
People say that about Lindsey Graham all the time, that he's openly
Right.
gay in Washington. He's closeted in the Carolinas.
That's great.
Which is very possible. I mean, look, a lot of people just are ashamed. But there's something weird about, like, Paul Mooney being a guy who, like, is so famous for being, like, outspoken and fighting for the rights of his people, but is also terrified of his alleged
Being
sexuality.
outed. Yeah.
I mean, but if that were the case, I mean, kind of going back to like he's trying to speak up for his people, like unfortunately, a lot of the black community is very homophobic. And so I think that he probably would feel like he wouldn't be able to still speak to, his base and,
Yeah, he would
and be
lose a
open.
lot of...
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely true. There would be people who just... I mean, the internet would go crazy for weeks and weeks. It would be like the most famous
Do you think that they
meme.
would be, though?
Yeah, people are shit. Who was the one guy who was the NBA player who was accused of sleeping with the man?
Well, there was the...
And it's just all memes and...
Well, who was that? Well, there was one NBA... God, I can't remember blanking on his name right now because I've talked about it before. Who did come out of the closet. Jason Collins. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Jason Collins came out like sort of the end of his career. And the funniest thing about it was how much people were mad about the fact that he wasn't that good a player. And it was like, what? Why do you feel like only all-stars can come out of the closet?
Yeah,
like, he was
yeah.
good enough to be in the league.
Yeah.
We've got Christy Miller with us.
What's up, girl?
How you doing?
What a pain in the butt getting down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of all the way down here.
No, it's just the trains being
Yeah.
cranky.
We were just shaming closeted gay men.
Perfect.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
No
things.
Of
Bueno.
color.
Of color. Oh.
Specifically, yeah.
Wow, yeah,
Well, I
we
think
really
I think
were.
their own
Yes, we
community
were.
does good enough job with that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's...
Yeah, well, that's what I was just saying because Dave and Scott were saying that allegedly Paul Mooney is a closeted gay man.
And Eddie Murphy.
And
I
Eddie
worked with
Murphy.
Paul Mooney. I opened for him for 12 years.
Well, don't say anything that'll get you sued.
Yeah. Or in trouble because he's like my father.
No, I mean, he's a...
But
we're
we
saying
question it. We've always questioned it. I mean, even back in the days when him and Richard were running around, they would always make fun of him about being like gay and the boys. But he never, and I've known him since 1995. I'm 1,000. And I've never seen him with a man. I've only seen him with women. But then again, how many people in Hollywood we've only seen with women?
Right.
And never with a
Yeah,
guy,
yeah,
Tom
yeah.
Cruise, and anybody else. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
And especially in sports, they have to, I mean, especially like in basketball is one of the worst when it comes to closeted with the high population.
Right.
And football, the same thing.
Never underestimate a closeted person's amount of effort that they'll take to, to stay in the closet, because
Oh, yeah.
they're very afraid. I mean, it's just like, you've never seen Richard Gere in a pet store. Even though, and I'll say this every time, that was a completely made up story.
Yeah.
That was a fake fax people sent out. PETA immediately said it was never true. The man never had a gerbil up his ass, but God...
Wait, PETA said something about it?
The whole rumor started from a fake press release. People just sent us a mass fax from PETA that anyone with half a brain knew was fake.
Wow.
But people don't like to acknowledge when things are fake if they're salacious.
One of my favorite fake rumors as a kid was Mick Jagger and David Bowie
Yeah.
sucking each other off and
Yeah.
swallowing the cum.
Well,
Yep.
that was
who
from
doesn't do that?
Jagger's wife. Jagger's wife said that happened.
She was
Oh,
mad,
yeah,
but
she
she
was
was
mad,
mad at
yeah.
him.
She claimed that happened. And here's the thing, and I'll be 100% honest. Have you seen the Dancing in the Street video?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It is very hard to believe they didn't fuck each other after
Yeah.
watching that
But
video.
I thought David Bowie kind of admitted that they had a thing.
I've never actually heard that.
He's
That-
never admitted it, but he's so androgynous that
People say people have said
people
things.
people will accentuate what people's actions or words are. They'll blow them out of proportion or focus on one aspect of it. Go, oh, he really meant that. Well, really? Did he? You know, would
Right.
you really fuck Mick Jagger if you were David Bowie? No.
Why not?
Well, I
I
don't think
don't
that's
know.
a done deal. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
if Bowie was bi, I can't imagine why he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, he had his husband, Iman.
Well, yeah, I don't think David Bowie was the kind of guy who, once he
Iman's
found
no
the
Grace
right,
Jones.
Once he found the right
Hell
person,
no.
Yeah.
anyone
That's the
else
biggest
again.
dude there is. Love her.
Yeah, Grace
Yeah.
Jones that looks great for, being very old now. It still looks great.
Yep, black don't crack.
Yeah.
Um.
Well, hers doesn't.
No, she eats babies.
Mm-hmm. She's real Madam Bathory.
What was that, Dave?
Bathory.
No,
Elizabeth Bathory.
No, like you look like you were about to say something to me.
No, let's just talk about the news or something. I don't know. Because the Mueller report came out today.
The Mueller report,
But
did come out
nothing.
today.
Well, it didn't come
It's-
out.
It,
He
was
submitted all
sent-
his
It's just
yeah,
submitted, yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, the longer Trump doesn't talk about it, the more scared I think he looks. But also, it depends what he says. In all honesty, let's be honest. Let's psychoanalyze the guy because he deserves it. Do you think the fact that he's suddenly, I really believe that the Mueller report coming out is part of why he's getting worse lately, and I think that the McCain stuff is just a symptom of how crazy he's going with fear of what's going to happen with this report. Because the things he's been saying about McCain, the ranting, he did more today, by the way. This isn't just
Really?
yeah,
It's
because
a massive deflection.
he was
what's
on
happening.
I think Fox News today, and he once again started going. He started using the word evil.
Mhm.
He called John McCain evil today on TV, or it said that his motivations were evil. It's on one hand, is it he's just
Well,
trying
she
to say
brought up
something.
McCain, right?
Well, she asked, why do you keep talking about him? Because he keeps bringing them up in speeches he's
Right.
doing. And then he started ranting about McCain. Instead of explaining the question, he started just saying more, just whining about McCain.
Mhm.
I think he just hasn't been able to catch up with his Adderall dealer, and I think this is just him allegedly going through withdrawals.
Well, you have to look at, on one hand, it could be he just is saying, if I say horrible things that aren't illegal, they'll detract from the things that are. Or it's just, this is where his mind is because of how crazed he is, that it doesn't not make sense to him.
Well, maybe he is like Hitler and he had syphilis and then went nuts.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that's possible.
I never heard of
It's
Hitler having
possible.
syphilis.
But
Hitler had Parkinson's and was an amphetamine addict, but
Yeah, he had syphilis.
from who? He never had sex. He was
Well, I don't know. He had syphilis. I read this book when I was 20 years
he
old.
didn't even like having sex. He made women just stomp on his cubes. That was his whole thing.
No way.
Oh yeah, Hitler was known for he didn't have sex. He just had women step on him and
On his
torture him.
balls?
Yeah, he
With
liked to
high
have women step
heels?
on his balls. Yeah, that was like a thing.
Wow.
Makes perfect sense when you look at who usually likes that, men in power
Yeah.
that feel they don't deserve it.
Wow, that's what it is?
Yeah, he also only had one ball because he lost one in the war in World War One.
What?
Yes, I don't even know if he could get an erection. Obviously, he must have if he got syphilis. But
A war hero. That's
Yeah, yeah.
all I heard.
oh, he was a war hero, no question. That's how he got his political career, from being a war hero in World War
Yeah.
One, because he was insane and he had no, he never tried to protect his life.
Yeah, okay.
He was nuts, and he loved World War One. He said he loved trench warfare. It was the happiest time of his life, which is really funny when you think about something almost everyone hates.
Wow. Almost everyone hates.
Yeah, trench
Yeah.
warfare. He said it
Yeah,
was the
of
happiest he'd ever
course.
been because people relied on him and he had friends.
I think he just liked trench foot.
Oh man. What were we talking about? Oh, the
well,
Trump thing.
The deflection. It could be
The-
just almost like pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Focus
Yeah.
on the big fucking pretty head that's talking to you.
But he
thing
has
with-
to know how bad this looks.
Wow, yeah, but this is how bad he is that this is one of the first things I've seen and gone wow, you're standing your ground. How many people die and people they fake change their opinions on them. You know, and it's one thing where I go, he's being consistent He didn't like him in life. He didn't like him in death. And so that's why I thought he was getting irritated that that woman brought him up, because it's like, if you bring him up, I'm gonna talk shit because I never liked the fucking
You know
guy.
why she brought him up? Because he has been
That's what I didn't know.
he has been generally
Just bringing him up.
spontaneously complaining about McCain in those weird campaign stops he does. Remember how Trump is
Yeah.
the only president in history to continue campaigning
Yeah.
after he won? He's been going to these speeches, and I've seen the footage of it where just in the middle of it, he'll be like,
Just start ranting
He'll
about
just
how
start
he hates him
ranting
and
about
how
how
he didn't
bad a per-
deserve the funeral, and he
How
gave
I
the
never got a
approval.
thank
I
you for
didn't
the
get a
funeral.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kept complaining, no one ever thanked me for letting him have a funeral.
Like was like I don't know. Is he
Yeah.
gonna pull up like a Ouija board so like McCain can go and say thanks for the flowers? Like I
Holy
don't even.
shit.
But the
Yeah.
really weird thing about it is the part that people should be most upset about is Trump is doing something very specific that he does that most people wouldn't do, which is he's using the idea, using the fact that McCain is dead to start lying about things McCain said to him in private. And that's much worse than just complaining about a guy.
Yep.
He is now publicly lying and saying McCain told me this in private. And everyone knows Trump's a pathological liar. Even his friends and his fans know. But they always choose to believe or act like they believe the stuff that's convenient for them. So this is a guy lying about a respected senator's, just because he's dead, he knows that he's not there to say I never said this.
Right.
That's why it's so amazing that, you see McCain's youngest daughter came out and called him a child.
Mm-hmm.
That woman's she's very private. Do you know who Bridget McCain is?
No.
Bridget McCain is, and correct me if I'm wrong, she was adopted from Bangladesh.
Right.
She was the child who in the 2000 election, George W. Bush's campaign put out flyers that showed him holding that child in a very they took the photo and they kind of made it like stark, like harsh in terms of like bright, like the contrast, and said, this is proof that John McCain has an illegitimate black daughter.
That is so.
That was it was in Alabama, I believe, where they found a bunch of flyers of that, where they were trying to frame it and that's part of the reason she's so private, I imagine. I'm actually shocked that Trump didn't bring that up. He's probably,
Holy shit.
Probably
yeah.
hasn't got around to it
Yeah.
He
yet.
just doesn't know about it.
That's who
Yeah.
Bridget McCain
He didn't pay
is.
attention to politics then.
Yeah. Well, he was a Democrat then.
Yeah.
he
true.
was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the McCain thing. I think it's both. I think it's simply a measure of that his narcissistic personality disorder is increasing in the job because the job is bad for it.
Yeah, I think it's like alcohol. It's like something that you can't be president when you have this thing. It's going to trigger it more. And I think that's clearly what's happening.
Yeah, and he also has an antisocial personality. He shows that all the time. I mean, he's a textbook example. He's literally being used in like textbooks now.
Yep.
Really?
College classes are using him to teach narcissism.
Yep.
Wow.
There's never been such an obvious example of it.
And they've never had such a not even obvious, but not such a like this huge, big, giant example. Not
It's like a
everybody is
billboard.
narcissistic. It's
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
general
yeah.
trait, but it depends on if it's like a mellow narcissistic, if it's for your good self or for your bad self. It's like you have to have some kind of narcissism to take care of yourself for self-preservation.
Right.
So it's when you get full of your bullshit and you've been spoon-fed bullshit your whole life and yes your whole life and jerked off and like, oh, you're the best, it blows it out of proportion. That's why a lot of people, when they get like Trump, Michael Jackson, like all these big, super big celebrities are surrounded by all these yes people constantly being told you how great you are, you're this, oh no, and they'll do anything to make you happy. You start believing your own bullshit and you create this fake world in your head because you've been fed this. It's like this weird cycle. So it depends on how strong of a person or how much of a clue you have or what, if you're a little imbalanced or not, if you're going to actually like take a grip and go, no, this is not reality, or you're going to get so caught up in the disease of it that you just completely blow it out of proportion. But we've never in our lifetime seen somebody as big as Trump publicized and idolized and scrutinized at the same time for the same disorder. He's sick. And it's like they've never seen anything like it, especially in our times. And now people, oh yeah, you're a narcissist. Like when the word came out, oh, you're such a narcissistic person. You're so narcissist. You're a narcissist. But it had to do more with like male, female, or like intimate relationships, like husband, wives, or friendships. Like you have a narcissistic person in your life, you got to cut them out. But now we're publicizing and idolizing, and he's running our country.
And it's not that we've never seen this before. It's just that he's a Frankenstein of all the worst traits of multiple people that we've seen before that had never been in one person.
Right.
Like Spiro Agnew was just as corrupt and a liar and
absolutely,
and a traitor to the country.
But we didn't have
but he wasn't,
Facebook. We didn't have like social media, the internet to have access and have it bombarding us constantly.
Spiro Agnew, by the way, I was reading about him because of the Rachel Maddow series.
Bagman.
Yeah, it's amazing that almost no one even knows that Spiro Agnew resigned from the vice presidency for crimes that were completely unrelated to Watergate. They had nothing to do with Watergate whatsoever. He had to resign because of extortion and bribery in the White House. That was 100% separate from Watergate, had nothing to do with Watergate.
But that was like a continuation from what he was doing in like Maryland, right?
Yes, exactly.
So
he was a corrupt and corrupt on a level that's like just sad because it was so rudimentary. It wasn't even, people say it was a conspiracy. It wasn't a conspiracy. He was literally saying, give me a bag of cash or you can't do your job as a government official. And he was getting literal envelopes of cash in the White House. And here's the amazing thing about that. Absolutely no Republicans today, and a lot of them back then, would ever accept the idea that both the Republican president and vice president had committed impeachable crimes that they could go to jail for at the same time that were unrelated to each other. They would never accept the idea that that could just happen spontaneously. It had to be a setup, and which they did believe. I mean, all of the Republicans at the time did believe that Agnew was innocent, but Agnew had to resign because they gave him such a sweetheart deal of being like, you're going to spend the rest of your life in jail unless you take this deal.
So if you project like past performance, and that's kind of like how we can gauge history. So you've got the Agnew Nixon thing. They're both corrupt, which you would kind of be able to forecast that this is probably what we're going to see right now with Trump and Pence. So I mean, considering that Pence was the head of the transition, like what do you think that we might? Do you think the Mueller investigation has anything to do with Pence?
No.
Like
No.
I don't know. I feel like he was in charge of the transition, and a lot of the people that were involved in the transition are coming up with indictments.
Yeah, they knew to not mention the Russia stuff to Pence. They knew not to mention the obstruction of justice. Pence has been kept in a hyperbaric chamber this whole time because the entire White House staff knows that Trump is probably not going to make it to 2020.
But he lawyered up like really fast.
Well,
like he's been lawyered
that's what you
up
do.
like before most of them
He hasn't been indicted by Mueller.
we know of.
I mean,
it could be
possible.
sealed.
I don't think they needed for Pence to be involved in what they
I don't
were
think
doing.
they want it. I don't think they want it.
He's too much of a Boy Scout. Even though he's not really a Boy Scout, he's a lapdog. I think he would help Trump commit any crime, so it's possible, but I don't think they needed to have him there. Trump keeps saying no collusion all the time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The reason he might be saying that is because there was no collusion in the sense that what he thinks that counts as. He might think that as long as he never shook a hand and said, let's do this, it doesn't count. But that the fact that he had underlings doing it for him with a wink and a nod keeps him clear. But that's literally what racketeering and RICO laws are.
Right.
You can't just have your lieutenants out there committing crimes for you.
Yep.
Right. And then you can say like, oh, well, I didn't do that. They did it. But I mean, I don't know. Like it'll be interesting. I kind of want, like, do you think that this report is ever going to come out?
Yeah, I do. Because I think that if it doesn't, that's going to be too much of a wedge against them. If it doesn't come out, everyone kind of sees that like, well, that clearly means that you're hiding something from us. And I also think if it doesn't come out, it gets leaked. Democrats leak it. Fuck it. Why not?
I
Why
don't know.
not?
I don't-
They'll have their hands on
I
it.
think it'll come out because of all the shit that's been going down about the no collusion and I'm innocent and all this crazy shit. That it will come out because it's got to put everybody in their place.
And the problem,
It has to tell on everybody, like, this is why we've been investigating, and this is all the shit you've been telling us that we're full of shit, and we don't know what we're doing, and there's nothing wrong, and it's a waste of money, and you should be fired. No, it will be released.
I think it's
because of that.
I don't think there's
I
anything.
don't think it's going to come out.
If it doesn't come out, why wouldn't a lot of Democrats are going to be given it? Why would they not leak it? Why would they not send it to the New York Times? I find it impossible to believe that not a single Democrat in Congress would say, You can't prove this was me. What are they going to do? Put the New York Times in jail? It makes the snowball effect would get even worse. They can't block it, especially because Barr, Attorney General Barr, already said that he had determined that there was no improper conduct by Mueller. Trump had to pretend that he wants it to come out to show how innocent he is. They don't get away with keeping this behind. The whole country wants to see it. Every single member of Congress voted for it to come out.
All right,
It's
so
not
when,
possible.
when do we see it?
Well, that's the question of the process of the Attorney General. That they have to first, it's got to be shown to Congress, and then they will.
I think it's going to be a legal battle before.
Why wouldn't they leak it then? Why not?
I think that I don't know that they're going to leak it, and
the risk versus reward is so high. Why would you not just say, "Fuck it, put it out"? What are you going to do to me?
I think right now, to be honest with you, I think that because we were kind of in such a constitutional crisis, that I think that the assessment is going to be that whatever the results are, he can't be quote unquote indicted while he's in office. And then as soon as the election of 2020 happens, if he loses, God willing, that then when he leaves office that they'll indict him. And then maybe I think that some of that information will come out. But I think that they're going to be afraid to leak it because right now he's already setting up.
Afraid of what?
I think that
leaking is such an easy thing to do. I mean, you can't really, you can't usually prove who did it, and it's just.
But like, what have the Democrats really leaked so far?
There's nothing to leak yet. This is the thing. This is the report that every member of Congress has to come out.
But there are things to leak. So, like, let's say Cohen, for instance, he was behind closed doors for multiple days talking to Congress. None of that shit leaked. You know that he had to have told them.
Because no one gives a shit about Michael Cohen compared to Robert Mueller. Those are two completely different levels of respectability of what they have to say.
Yeah, but Cohen is setting up a possible RICO case in New York. So there's information there that would be.
But that would affect the case if it leaked. Whereas with Mueller, once the report is out, I just don't think that there's any reason to think that it's possible that they could really hide this whole thing forever. They couldn't. If they tried to, then someone would put it out. It's too big.
I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't think they're going to leak it, and I think that
every
we're
member
going
of
to
Congress voted to have it released.
No,
Trump said he wanted it released. They can't.
Trump has to say he wants it released.
Exactly, and now he's backed into a corner.
But his lawyers will say that he didn't mean that.
Yeah, well, that's going to be another problem. Look, I'm just saying, we did not have all this build up for the American people to accept never seeing it.
No, it's impossible.
Impossible.
It will be seen.
There is not one person out there saying that they don't want it released.
No, I'm
so
not.
Who's going to fall on their sword and say, I'm the one who says no, it can't come out?
I think Trump is going to say that he doesn't want it released, that it's an illegitimate report, and that Mueller was set in place illegitimately, and there's the angry Democrats.
He probably will say that, and it's still going to come out.
He'll say that, and then
it's going to come out anyway. It's not his decision.
It's
not Trump's decision.
Yeah, but the Justice Department, I think, is also his lapdog. And then if this gets kicked up to the Supreme Court, then
Bill Barr would have had to have already laid the groundwork for why he's not going to release it, and he hasn't. I just don't think there's any way that this doesn't come out eventually.
Oh, it's going to come out. I feel it. Like
there's too much anticipation. There's too much build-up.
There's too much at stake.
We talking months. We talking years.
I think years.
Maybe not years. No.
I think years. I'd say. Probably
that's
2 years.
That's just believing that Trump is godlike and that nothing can touch
I
him.
don't think that he's godlike. I think that he's corrupt, and I think everyone around him is corrupt, and that they don't want to get the shit tumbles down. And I think that everyone is trying to put a raincoat on right now.
Would you be surprised? How surprised would you be if you just woke up one day and just found out that Trump just resigned with no warning, just said, this has nothing to do with anything in the Mueller report. I just realized that America is corrupt and I've done all that I need to do. Like, that to me is the most likely thing to happen of all the scenarios.
It would not surprise me.
I would be shocked if he didn't resign before his term.
Spiro Agnew resigned once again. Spiro Agnew was in court for every reporter thought that it was a hearing about getting the people who leaked information about him in trouble, and the reporters get there and find out it's Spiro Agnew announcing that he is resigning. Wow. There was literally no warning about it. That's how quickly these things can happen, and that could be the model that they're using, that they're going to offer to have him resign in exchange, which actually kind of sucks because Spiro Agnew should have spent his life in jail. He stole millions of dollars from the United States.
And we might not be going through this now.
Well, maybe, but...
Yeah, it would have been. I think it would have been nipped in the bud a little harder, but I don't think it would have made a difference. I think we're just too corrupt. The whole administration's too corrupt, and they can get away with it. They got away with it once, so what do you spend his rest of his life in jail, supposedly, just for hypotheticals?
Right.
I think it still would have happened.
The one thing about the Mueller report that everyone keeps ignoring is none of us know what evidence any of the people who got out of jail because of it gave. So that's a lot of stuff that no one knows that everyone wants to know. And people don't get out of jail for nothing. They
Nope.
had to give Mueller something important about the only person Mueller wants above them, which is Trump.
Important and legit. Nothing like half-assed. Nothing, no small little minor thing. They want the real shit.
Yeah, none of this is going to be his word versus his word.
What do you think's going to come out?
What could come out?
Yeah.
Well, it could very well come out that multiple people we kind of know this already. Multiple people in Trump's orbit were colluding directly with Russians who were through WikiLeaks to make sure that they knew exactly how to release the information. If that happened for the benefit of Trump, that is the definition of a criminal conspiracy against the United States. I think we're also going to find out that his finances are tied into Russian loan sharks through Deutsche Bank.
Yep.
I think we're going to find out that he has had a quid pro quo relationship that cannot be proven because there's no contract for it, but that, like all these relationships, there's never that much proof of it. It's always the proof is the transaction. Someone did something for you, you did something for them, and it's already out in the open. Why was annexing Crimea suddenly on the plus side of the Republicans' platform when before it was negative? That's something that was done for a specific reason by Paul Manafort. I think we're gonna find out where his money really is. We're gonna find out who he owes that money to, and to be perfectly honest, I think that him getting pissed on is going to be the single most viewed video in the history of the world. It's going to destroy Gangnam Style. It's going to rip through Justin Bieber's Baby like it was nothing on the first day.
You think we're going to get that video?
Do you think he's a pisser or the pissy?
Neither. He just watched. He watched them do it on a bed. That's why
I think he's
that was
the
the
pisser.
trick. No,
No,
definitely
I don't
not.
think. No, I think he watched. Definitely.
He watched because he said, "I'm a germaphobe. I wouldn't do that."
Yep.
And
Yeah,
that's
but
the
if
thing.
he's pissing on someone, the germs aren't on him.
It's either way.
I think he watched, and he gets off
That's a
on
good
watching
point.
people.
No, I think he watched them because he didn't want to be near it. And he claims to be a germaphobe, which we know he's not because he barebacked Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
And we know that he's
And eats McDonald's.
But with a fork and a knife, most things. Right?
only when he's on camera.
Yeah.
Because he's that pretentious. Like he eats pizza with a fork and knife
Yeah,
if he's on
yeah.
camera.
He
He's
should be shot for that alone.
Yeah, well, look, he's a really bad person.
Yeah.
And everyone knows it. And he's not going to get impeached because Congress doesn't have the kind of morality that they did in the 70s. But the information is going to come out anyway. And what we can probably do is there's a very good chance that we get to tear down the entire Republican Party with him. This could be the Federalists. The Federalists backed England in the War of 1812, and that's why the Federalists suddenly stopped existing. This could very well. I don't know that there's going to be a Republican Party left because he's eaten them. He has consumed everything the Republican Party stood for just to keep him going day to day.
Isn't it sad that that's the Democrats' only chance?
Well, yeah, I mean, because so much of the country is broken in a way that they think Trump is a good person, and that is broken. You're a bad person if you like him at this point.
I don't think that the Republicans, as they were like in the 80s or even, Bush's Republicans are going to exist. But the thing that I'm afraid of is that the vacuum that them leaving is going to open up to. I think that the Republican Party, the Trump Party, is just going to kind of be fascist Nazis. Like, I mean, I think that they are kind of leaning towards like fascist ideals and following him. They're not conservatives anymore. They don't have the family values that they claim that they used to, but like everything is about, like anti-immigration, anti-LGBT rights, like anti-affirmative action. Like everything is about hate, and nothing is about preserving the Constitution or constitutional norms or the rule of law or anything that used to, or the economy or budgets or anything that was quote unquote conservative or
there are some
Republican.
things they want to preserve.
you know,
They're, you
Jim
know.
Crow laws. But other than that,
No, I'm saying
like,
they want to preserve the system that put them in power. They want to preserve what, and for most of them, it's always what the world was like when they were 5. That's when the world was perfect, and that they want to restore that. But yeah, they want to conserve their own power. They don't want to conserve like the environment. They don't want to have conservation. But you know, they're just mad. They're really, really mad at a world that they think is changing around them and leaving them behind. And it's amazing that we're talking about white men who truly believe that they are the most discriminated class in the country.
Oh yeah, they believe it.
Only because they don't have what they want. I mean, people keep saying you can never, ever talk badly about these people. And it's like, we're talking about fucking babies. The people who truly believe that they're worse off than migrant workers. Or like, I mean, you know, we've seen these people, like, they literally think that there are government programs that give migrant workers stuff that they aren't entitled to. It's like you're entitled to every program that they're getting, plus a lot of others. It's really
You're just
weird.
too fucking lazy to go after it or do anything for yourself. You think that because it's funny because white people, you know, being one, you think growing up, I remember in the 70s, like the government programs for, you know, like WIC and all that stuff, and you know, watching people on welfare and starving, and it was like, oh, it's always the blacks and the immigrants. It's always that. I'm like, look around. We are in a trailer park. Hello. I've never seen a black. You guys are the worst off scamming the system, having babies to stay on the system, to keep getting fed. And it's like, you guys they're just too lazy. They think, well, we're white. We should be entitled to this. It should just come naturally. No, you got to work for it. You're a human.
It's like when Obamacare came out, and you could see there were people who hated Obama, and they were literally doing this. They were refusing to change their health plan to one of the new ones just to be able to say, look how much my health care went up. It's like, you're supposed to get a new plan. That's the whole point. The system has changed, and then the companies, the healthcare companies, were doing the same thing cable is doing, taking advantage of the people who are old and lazy. The old and weak and lazy are the only people who just won't get rid of their cable, and they just keep jacking up the price of cable because like there's a percentage of people out there that are terrified of losing this. It was the same thing with Obamacare. They just said, okay, the Obama administration is taking away our ability to gouge people when they get sick, so we're going to have to just try to rely on the small percentage of people who simply won't change their plan no matter what, just because they're afraid of change. And they took advantage of those people, and they stayed just to have something to complain about.
Did you see that report when they did with those people that were like, you know, fuck Obama, and you're fucking with my health care, and I'm not switching all that. And when they introduced Obamacare as the Affordable Care Act to them, like, we're going to switch to that.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, it's the poor and uneducated that they prey on. And they're so fucking, and they just don't.
That's why the Republicans renamed it Obamacare.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, remember Chris Christie came out when he was trying to run for president, and he was saying how he's going to kick Obama's butt out, you know, when he finishes his second term.
Right.
And he said, he goes, the guy's such a narcissist, he named it after himself. You named it after him. Exactly. What the fuck are you talking about? Even an ass that big can be lied off.
And then when the hurricane hit, and President Obama went to New Jersey to assess the damage with Chris Christie, he licked his ass like it was a pudding pop.
Yeah.
He was eating out his asshole. It was amazing.
And I knew a Republican who was so, like, let's say, confused about politics that he said, you know what happened? Obama said, I'm not going to give New Jersey this relief money unless you publicly show a lot of affection for me. And I'm like, do you really think Obama would put himself in such a position of ruining his career?
Yeah.
Because all Chris Christie would have to do is release that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, he doesn't have to do that.
Nope.
Like, that's not how these things work. At least they didn't, up until Trump, who now actually does say those things. Who actually does say, I need you to hug me, and I need you to tell everyone how great I was. How come he never thanked me for that funeral? I could have said no. I could have said he doesn't get a funeral. I could have had him cremated myself and scattered in my backyard if I wanted to. Not one thank you.
Because of me, he got buried in a funeral.
That's what he said. Yeah. The guy fucking hates him. And the best thing, he's lying all the time. He says, he privately told me he was going to vote for repeal and replace. Well, here's how I know you're lying. You added the word replace. There was no replacement in the bill that John McCain voted against. It was to only repeal Obamacare
No
alone,
replacement.
with
No
nothing to
replace
replace
it.
it.
Yep.
And Trump just now, because he relies on the fact that his fans don't look anything up, to just say, well, I was going to replace it too. He is really trying to just build a fantasy world. And they're letting him.
Well, he ran on repeal replace, but then when they actually put the bill in, there was no replace. It was just repeal.
Of course.
Ironically, if he were to run more than 30 steps, he would drop dead. He is in such bad physical condition. I like the fact that now they got the new doctor. This is exactly what happened with that doctor. I'll tell you right now. So you know how the previous doctor is the one who gave him the fake height and weight.
Right.
Everyone knew it was fake. And the fact that I literally saw Republicans being so full of shit that they're like, "Oh, you're a doctor? Yeah, I need to be a doctor to be able to tell who's fucking taller in a photo when you can see their feet are lined up." We know that Trump is about 6 feet tall.
Right.
And he got the Candyman, which was the nickname of the doctor in the White House, who was an alcoholic and was giving people pills to say that he was 6'3" to make him not obese. Then the new doctor comes in, his weight goes up, but the height stays the same, which I guarantee means he refused to let his height get taken again. Because what's the doctor gonna do? Force him? He just said, "No, we're not doing my height again. We already did that. Height doesn't change." But he wouldn't have been able to say no to the weight thing. And by the way, speaking of the height thing, what the fuck is wrong with people thinking Melania Trump is a body double? That's something Republicans believe. That's something Republicans fall for. We are a little bit better than that. There's no fucking body doubles. You saw her in sneakers instead of heels. That's literally that's why she was shorter. She was wearing fucking flats. This is not brain surgery.
Well, you got to realize his base believes everything, so of course it's a body double. If they're going to believe she's not a body double, then they're not going to believe anything Trump says because of that fucking stupid.
Trump didn't say she's a body double.
I know that, but I'm saying that's how dumb they are. They're,
Well, yeah.
you
They're
expect them to
conspiracy
believe
believing
his shit, and then they're fucking
I'm not going
retarded.
to put anything past him. I'm really not.
What would be the upside of a body double
thing?
I think that.
Are you really open to the idea this was a body double?
I think
I'm
there might
open
be
to the
another
idea.
lady who looks like her that he fucks.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Because she won't anymore.
Well, that's a good point.
But there's no body double.
But she's not going out with him taking
No,
pictures.
But
no.
so here's the thing is that, and I'm not saying that I believe that this is a body double, but I would say that it is not out of the realm of possibility that he needs her to be at places she doesn't want to go, and so they hire a lookalike.
Then your realm of possibility is too big a realm. Because that is fucking crazy.
There's infinite possibilities of anything,
No,
really.
But that would
There's
never
a
sell.
finite number of possibilities.
That would never sell.
Hillary Clinton, they accuse of having a body double just because, people's faces can look different from different angles. And people just thought it was another thing to lie about her. And I think now they just got in people's heads that that's a thing. But now because people think that that's real, that happens, like she's not Saddam Hussein. She's not evading snipers. It would be...
No, she's
There's no
evading Trump's penis.
Think about the risk and reward of saying, well, I'd look weird if Melania didn't come with me here, so let's hire a double that people on Facebook can tell the
But do
difference
you think
between.
that that's something that he would not do?
Yes, I do.
I
I think
don't
that
think
is
he would do
not
that.
something he
I-
would do.
and
I think that's
crazy.
something he would do.
No,
he
and also
is
that's
crazy.
That's a confidence thing because he would have to, bring this up to people to
Yeah.
get him the body double. He'd have to be like, look, she doesn't want to go anywhere with me. That's like so fucking embarrassing.
He would
and
rather go, I
uncomfortable.
don't want her going with me. I'm going alone.
Yeah, he's not going to
Because
go.
he's that big of an egotistical
I don't even
cocksucker.
think he would know the difference.
Right, but he'd be the one who had to. He would be the one who had to do it. Is the thing. I
I
up to
think
him.
that she could do it. I think that I'm not going. Just wear your glasses. Don't talk to him. He won't know the difference.
Okay, well, in reality,
I don't.
This is
I
ridiculous.
honestly, I think he would know the difference between like Ivanka and fake Ivanka, but I don't think that he would know the difference between Melania and
Of
fake
course he-
Melania.
well, of
Oh,
course-
he would.
Of course, he knows the difference between fake Ivanka. Who do you think he's paying for sex? But
Ivanka.
no, in all
Real
in all
Ivanka.
seriousness, like it doesn't do us any favors when we are the party of ludicrous conspiracy theories. I mean, I saw the picture. Feldman was looking at it too, and I'm like, she's bloated. She just is having a bad day. Sometimes you look tired. Sometimes
Yeah,
you,
man,
you
people look
retain
different
water.
sometimes.
You look a little bit, and she didn't look that different. I literally had
And the
people
angle of the
like,
camera was off too. It wasn't even like her normal good angle. It was like some weird angle from the camera. It was her.
I saw people with photos of them together, and grids and other photos showing the height difference. And I'm like, look at her fucking shoes! How can you get this far into the process and not look down at the fact she's wearing that? And they said, well, she's 5'11". I'm like, no, she's not. They're liars. She's 5'11" because Trump said she's 5'11" because that's the only way she could stand next to him and he would be 6'3". Michelle Obama is 5'11". If you've ever seen them standing next to each other, Michelle and Melania, she towers over Melania.
She does.
Melania is 5'11" in 4-inch heels. Mystery solved.
Wow.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
I mean, there's that photo of Trump and Obama standing, and it's perfect. They're standing straight up, their feet are lined up, and he is slightly shorter than 6'1" Obama. It's the fact that he needs to lie about things that we can see with our own eyes aren't true, like the number of people at his inauguration.
Or that he has his hands blown up in photos so his hands don't look so small.
Yeah, it's sick. It's showing.
But if
someone
you
who's-
go through that, I would believe that you would have a fake wife.
No.
I do. I honestly do.
It's
I mean, I don't necessarily. I'm not saying that I believe the conspiracy theory, but I also do
I
not.
think you do.
I don't think it's out of the. I don't.
It's fucking crazy.
His
It doesn't
ego's
make
too big to have a
sense.
fake wife.
It doesn't make.
He's such an egomaniac, he'd want Melania there because if it was a fake person and someone found out, it would make him look even worse.
He doesn't give a shit.
I
if
think
she
that's
doesn't
the
wanna go with
reason
him
why
places.
he keeps
Yeah, he
bringing up
doesn't
the
care.
fact that it's not a fake Melania because it's just like, well, how ridiculous would that be if I had a fake Melania? Like, just like, how ridiculous is it that you think that I actually wasn't summa cum laude?
Do you think that's possible that I could get a second Melania? Is that a thing? Would that be if her name was
it on
also
eBay?
Melania? Does that count as bigamy? Is that? It just there's no reward for it. It's just because there's no upside to it, and it's so crazy, and it would make him look so crazy. It would be such a ridiculous.
But blowing up his hands makes him look crazy.
Not-
Lying about the size of his
Photoshopping-
inauguration.
Everybody on
Photoshopping
Instagram
your own
changes
image.
shit. Yeah.
There's a difference between photoshopping
Yeah,
yourself.
people do it every day
and,
before they.
and taking out your
For, like, the
wrinkles
post.
and
Yeah.
hiring a woman. First of all, they have to start looking for a lookalike. So they have to have auditions.
Yeah.
They have to start going through Facebook. They have to start looking through all and then they have to get that person to keep it a secret because that person's like, well, I now have a
I mean,
secret
he
that
loves
can
NDAs.
destroy
That's
the
not
earth.
a
could make me
problem.
millions and millions of dollars.
Billions.
I mean, all of Fox has an NDA. Like, it's
Irreducible
not, NDAs is
complexity.
not a problem.
Irreducible complexity. You could never pull off something so ridiculous with the number of people who would have to be involved in it. There's so many people who would have to. It's like the Sandy Hook kids. They think those kids are still alive because they're fucking lunatics.
Yeah.
You show me how you could put together an organization that's going to hide 50 fucking children for the rest of their lives. It's ridiculous. That the conspiracies happen so much less than people think, and when they do happen, they're usually real simple. It's usually something like Spiro Agnew being like, "Give me a bag of cash, and I won't get you and I won't have my thugs rough you up." Or it's Trump sending some fucking random goon to Stormy Daniels, being like, "That's a nice daughter. Be a shame if something happened to it." Like.
But like, how crazy did we think, like during the election, that he would have paid a porn star off to not say he had an affair with
No,
her?
That is
that
the most
made
believable
sense to
thing
me.
I've ever heard in
Yeah,
my
it made
entire
sense
life.
to me.
It makes perfect sense.
The whole time I was like, yeah.
That's what you would assume he would. If you
My
said,
real question was, you can get in trouble for that? That was the
Yeah.
question. It was, of course he did that.
yeah, he just shouldn't have done it like
Yeah.
with illegal financing.
Yes, exactly.
But the funny thing is, that's what happened to John Edwards, who ran in 2004.
Oh, I forgot all about
He had the identical situation, except
Yep.
that it ruined his career.
And it wasn't a porn star.
Well,
Right, it was
also,
just a woman. He was
and
a-
his
he
wife
was-
and
had-
his wife
had cancer.
Yeah, his wife
Yeah.
had cancer.
And that made him look bad.
Yeah.
Real bad.
But look at Giuliani. His wife had cancer and he was cheating on her, and everybody loves his fucking ugly ass.
No one loves Giuliani.
Yeah.
Everyone
Only
loves
those people.
Republicans.
Yeah, I mean Republicans. I think even they are a little, they're a little freaked out by
It's like
Giuliani
Uncle
at this
Fester
point.
at this
'Cause
point.
I think they realize that Giuliani has no idea what's going on.
Giuliani was cool at one point, right?
Giuliani got
Not to
lucky with
me.
9/11.
No, he was never cool to
got
you?
lucky.
Yeah.
He was in the right place at the right time, the right city, the right mayor job
there we go.
when 9/11 hit.
Before 9/11, I fucking hated Giuliani.
Really?
Yep,
Yeah,
we
'cause,
all
like,
did.
he
He
was
was
like
the
Nazi.
anti-art mayor. He was the
Oh,
we called
wow.
him Stalin. I never called him
Yep.
a Nazi, but I called him Stalin
Yep.
because he set up a panel of not one person from the art community to judge every painting in museums in New York to say whether or not they were offensive. You got like literally just like religious leaders to just go through every painting and be like, "No, I don't like this. I don't like this."
Wow.
He was rumored to have driven thousands of homeless people into the sewers.
Thank you.
And then went to the sewers and drove them out.
Yep. Thank you.
That was something Giuliani did.
Yep.
Oh, let them
Yep.
stay in the sewers. Let them be Morlocks. Let them
Yeah,
evolve away from us.
absolutely.
That's their right.
They forgot all about that. And then once 9/11 hit, all that was forgotten. Oh, we love America's mayor. No, he's
Yeah.
not.
And then he became this egomaniac who went around saying that he's a foreign policy expert because he happened to be in Manhattan when it got hit. And it was John McCain who was like, I mean, I guess that makes you a disaster relief expert. Because he's not a fucking liar, John
Right.
McCain.
We should take a quick break. But before we go, do you guys want to just tell everyone they can follow you on social media, Twitter, Instagrams, all that stuff? I'll start with you, Scott.
Scott_Chaplin on Twitter and Instagram. It's CHAPLAIN.
Chrissy.
Christy Miller Official on Instagram, on Twitter at Bitchy Slambora, my roller derby name. And I produce a Wild Wild West at the West Side Comedy Club once a month, Saturdays. The first Saturday of every month at 11 p.m.
Awesome.
Dave Cyrus, SIRUS.
Leave off the last S for savings. And you can follow me, Marissa Smith, on Twitter. Follow this show at The Blamestorm on Twitter. And if you're enjoying the show, please rate and review us on iTunes. We will be right back.